a growing health, wellness, and leadership podcast designed for you to become your most empowered self.
Great day, amazing humans. Welcome to the Empowered in My Skin podcast, where our mission is to help 1 billion people in this world think in more empowering ways. Empowered humans empower humans. So you are the right spot to become a lead domino for empowerment today. So let the show begin. Great day, amazing humans. Yes, welcome to the next episode of Empowered in My Skin. As you know, we are in September, and this episode concludes our series on self-talk, and it's going to be just as fire as every other episode has been. So buckle up, because our guest today has faced immense challenges, especially during COVID pandemic, I'm going to say, including losing her largest client, the sudden passing of her mother, a health scare requiring surgery, and navigating perimenopause, during which she gained and intentionally lost 30 pounds. Through it all, her spiritual practice in yoga, meditation, and Christian faith anchored her, helping her not only to overcome these obstacles, but also rebuild a successful company. Yeah. She discovered the power of weightlifting. Woo! Yes, girl. For women over 50, and launched a coaching program, The Rise of the Lioness, empowering midlife women to thrive. In today's episode, we are going to explore the theme, you are what you think about. And I believe her journey will highlight how positive self-talk shapes both personal growth and resilience. So I trust that you're as excited as I am to know, who is this? Who are you looking at if you're watching on YouTube, or who are you listening to if you're on another podcast app? But yes, please join me in a gigantic, massive podcast welcome for Coach. I'm going to call her Coach Che Marville.
I'm so excited to be here. Oh my God, thank you.
I love it. We recently met.
Yes.
And the most interesting thing is I've been curating. So anyone that knows, I'm on this journey this year to really help people with their self-talk, right? The yes. voices in our heads, as much as possible, if we can arrest and own them and yes. and anchor them to thoughts that help serve us and drive us forward. I'm all for that. And so this series obviously is about diving into that.
Yes.
And I just met her recently at an amazing event that was really around women lifting women, some of the most powerful women I know were in that space. And
some of the most powerful women in Canada.
Yeah, let's just say that, in Canada for sure.
Right.
And we looked at each other and we're like, I want to know you. And you're like, I want to know you. And I'm like, okay, what are you about? And she told me, I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing this episode. Would you want to? And she's like, oh my God, I would love to talk about that.
No, first of all, thank you for having me. I think you are incredibly generous. So beautiful. And I just found you incredibly captivating. So if you even before you spoke to me, I was looking at you going, who is this woman? And this smile and this laugh and this brightness. I just wanted to know you. So I'm so grateful to be on your show.
I love it. And then the greatest thing is that we are aligned by other amazing humans, because popped in my inbox some Evangeline. And I was like, wait, I know that human.
Yeah. Black Mentorship Inc. I spent Saturday with a group of extraordinary women from all over the world. And I facilitated a workshop about wellness, mindfulness, and, just overall healing. And, I found your topic so exciting because I think a lot of people think that self-talk is like fake wellness or toxic positivity. And they don't realize that actually self-talk is about how your mind functions. It's about understanding how your brain functions, and that you can condition yourself to think in a limitless way, in a higher vibrational way. And most of us, we don't even realize we're conditioned into the negative.
Right.
So we're always thinking, oh, what if this? What if that? We've evolved out of the savannah and, staving off lions and tigers and trying to survive, and all of that anxiety is in us. So naturally we have fear, and it's passed on through generations and through ancestors. And of course, our ancestors have gone through so many things around the world that it's natural to be more maybe negative in
Mm.
order to protect ourselves. And we
Hmm.
don't even realize that that could be hurting us. So I
Yes.
think this idea of learning to talk to yourself in a loving way, in a compassionate way, in a triumphant way,
Yes.
my God, yes,
Yes.
it
And
changes your
look,
life.
I'm already like, we haven't even started. Like, hold on. Let me get back into the driver's seat.
Drive,
Okay,
drive, baby,
drive.
drive,
Okay,
drive.
well, this is what we're going there. But before we do, one of my signature questions that I ask at the beginning of every episode is, what has been your most empowering thought that you've had today so far?
Oh, wow. That I am limitless.
Mm.
And let me explain what that
Yeah.
means. It doesn't mean that there aren't limits in the world that are physical, that there aren't rules and regulations that regulate how you live and who you live with and where you live and all of those things and what you can do. Like, I can't be a brain surgeon. I've never, gone to school, medical school, but no one can tell me what to think inside of my.
Mm. Hey.
No one can tell me what to believe about myself and how to visualize something different.
Yes.
And I just think that the more you give in to visualizing your dreams and bringing them forward and really spending time thinking about what you believe and what you value
Yeah.
and actually trying to see it,
Yeah.
the greater you can actually, people like to say the word manifest,
Yeah.
but it's more than manifest.
Yes.
Actually create.
You're
The,
great.
the
Yes.
experience begins first in your mind,
And then
then
becomes reality.
and then it becomes reality. Your body and your heart and your actions activate the vision. And once you get into the habit of that, you're able to change your life when you need to, right? So yeah, so I'm limitless, you're limitless. It's all of us have
Yeah.
limitlessness in us.
And I, you know what I love about owning that is because there's like no comparisonitis. I love that you said I am, you are, everyone is, right? And
Yeah.
it's some years back when I was like trying to amp up my value. I have a vision
Mm.
board that I've left white space on so that I can continue to grow my vision as my life
Yes.
evolves. And so I found $500 billion. And I remember my room had changed. And so during the pandemic, I'd be on video and people would be like, oh my God, is that a vision board? And the truth is, since the pandemic and looking at my vision board, more things on the vision board have manifested. But they
Yes.
would be like, what's the $500 billion? It's like, that's my value. Because I reckon,
Yes.
like,
And
who,
beyond.
wait, who are you? And so someone one day caught it and they're like, well, why are you aiming so low? And I was like, oh,
That's right. That's exactly right. That's why I
right.
said that's
And
like the floor.
right, that's the floor. We negotiate up from there, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I love that. So first, we're going to go back to sort of what you started to take off on. And
Okay.
it's really about the whole concept of you are what you think about, and how the things that your thoughts manifest in daily, because it doesn't, like, as you're saying, like, the more you think about, you're creating, but you can also create in the negative as well. And so
And
can
we
you
do.
talk a little bit more from your experience and expertise,
Yes.
how we're constantly manifesting because of the way we're thinking?
So just to give you a little background on
Mm-hmm.
me, I started off my career as a researcher at the Ontario Science Centre. I went on to be the senior advisor for health and well-being for University Health Network, which is Toronto General, Princess Margaret, Toronto Western, then St. Joe's Hamilton Healthcare, senior vice president at Origin Active Living, looking after employees. And my focus has always been about encouraging human beings to be the most well that they can be.
I love
And
that.
that wellness isn't just about how you look. It's not just the number on the scale. It's about how you feel and whether or not you have an ability to regulate yourself. So, one of the things I talk a lot about is disciplining your emotions. Not that you don't feel your emotions, you allow your emotions to come forward, but you don't always allow them to lead you. And once we start to train people, I'm also a meditation teacher and yoga teacher, and I have been for 20 years. And one of the things you learn in meditation and through the process of mindfulness is about really learning to observe your mind and to observe, what am I thinking? What am I thinking? What am I thinking? Why am I thinking that? Where did that idea come from? And questioning what you think and starting to think, okay, can I input other things into my mind? Can I start filling my mind with ways of changing, of ways of growing, of ways of activating, of ways of creating new ideas? And when you start to think that way, and when you start to cultivate your mind that way, and you start to take action, your body and your mind work together and they say, yeah, I can do this. I'm not afraid of this. Or I might be afraid, but I still can. And I think it's really powerful. We totally underestimate what we can do because we think everything is about what you can see rather than what you can feel and what you can create in your mind.
Woo! I love that. And it's so, the first that I thought about is how many times a day do we say the word I am? And one of the episodes was on positive affirmations, right? Like I am.
Yes.
And what follows it, you tend to become.
Right, exactly. And also what's reinforced from the world around you. Because, I am there's a very famous sort of Sanskrit affirmation. I am that 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 I am. It's called Soham. I am that I am, and you say it, and you lift up your chest and you breathe in and you feel the power and the vibration of I am. You don't even have to put anything beyond I am. You just know I am. I'm like the air. I'm like the trees. I'm like the ocean. I am the sky. I'm the ground. I'm you. You are me. We are so much more than what we can see. And when you start to embrace that, the energy starts to lift in you, and we are energy. Like it's not, we like to kind of, be very practical. And like and everything is material, and we are very reductionist, because that's where so many like Western society and where we come from in terms of our thinking. We only believe what we can see. But one of the powerful things about being a woman is learning to embrace what you cannot see, but what you can feel.
Yes, I love, so how many times I've listened to an Eckhart Tolle
Oh, he's good.
or read or Michael Singer, and they
Yes, I
talk
love
about the
Michael
great,
Singer.
right, and they talk about the great I am. I think for me, and as much as that visual that you just said, how powerful that is, because it's like, I see like, to me, if I'm a listener and I haven't really embraced that, I think what some people might fear is that it's not prescriptive. If they just
Oh,
said to people
yes.
like, I am.
Yes, yes, you're right. Well, this is the challenge. The challenge,
Right.
this is the challenge is that most people want a prescription before they actually give in to a feeling. So like sometimes someone will say, well, I am the CEO. But if you don't feel like you're the CEO inside, if you don't feel it in your body, if you don't know what are the steps that I do or I take as the chief operating, as the chief executive officer, then guess what? You affirm yourself, but you're affirming yourself in something that is not real. You're affirming yourself in something that you actually don't even understand. It's like when people say, if you're sick or you're going through a health experience, people will say, affirm yourself. That just keep saying, I'm well, I'm well, I'm well. But inside you're thinking, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared. And what the actual affirmation is that actually changes your life is, I'm scared, but I know I can be well. I'm scared, but I want to be well. And how you say it, and do you feel it in your body really matters. Like I went through a health scare in 2021. No health issues other than, starting to go through perimenopause. heavier periods. Oh, can I say things like that? Because
Of
I'm very,
course. Yes,
yeah,
yes. You can you can
fibroids,
bleep
like,
if you need to. You just need
like
to be
it
yourself.
was,
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Yeah, I
straightforward.
me too.
I'm, I fibroids, all these things were happening to me. My body, like I had turned 49 and my body was starting to go through all these different changes. And um, I didn't really know what was going on, but as a yoga person, and I knew to listen to my body. And so I went to the doctor, and then doctor says, oh, it's totally normal and everything's okay. And, you're just going through changes in your hormones. And I'm like, is there anything we can do about it? No, not really. I'm like, oh, that's not good. And then we had an ultrasound done and discovered that there was a growth on one of my kidneys, although it had nothing to do with the fibroids. And and they said, well, we don't know what it is. We don't know what it could be. And I wasn't having any issues with my kidneys ever. So it was a bit scary, obviously. Now, it turned out everything was fine, but the affirmation that I instituted in between discovering the growth and then discovering that everything was okay was, I'm afraid, but I'm resilient.
Right.
So what's the important part of this? Telling yourself the truth. You cannot lie to yourself. So I know my history was 49 years of being a resilient person. Whatever was going to come, I could face it. But I wasn't going to lie to myself. I wasn't going to say that I'm strong when I'm scared. I can still be strong and afraid.
And I love this concept that you're really bringing into this series, because I don't think we haven't touched on that yet. It's like, because we've talked about toxic positivity. I know that I asked the happiness doctor, Dr. Jillian Mandich, I asked in her interview, is it possible that you can be too, like that the positive self-talk could be too much or something like that.
Right.
But I think how I'm unpacking what you're sharing is really about keeping it real. Like,
yes,
whatever it is that you're experiencing in that moment.
Yeah.
Plus all of the historic accomplishments or things that that you've been able to do,
Right.
add them together.
Yes. Well, it's about science, right? It's about looking at the pattern that has existed in your life and acknowledge it. The pattern is to get up and to try and to survive and to thrive. Now, facing something that's unusual. I'm a healthy person. How did this happen? What's going on? Is it cancer? What is it? Right? And acknowledging the fear so that my mind and my body know I'm telling the truth. But I'm also acknowledging something very powerful, which is I'm affirming that I have an ability to get better and to get strong. And I think one of the things that happens to a lot of people is that they underestimate the value of talking themselves in to feeling better.
Something better. Yeah.
That there is a higher level that you can go and that you can vibrate on, and that you may not feel that in the moment, but taking action and talking to yourself the way you would talk to your friend, the way that you would talk to a sister or your brother, someone that you love deeply. You wouldn't say to them, oh my God, this is a horrible thing that's happening to you. Oh my God, I don't know what. I mean, some people would, but most people are going to say, you're going to be okay.
Hey,
good, you're strong. You're resilient. They're going to remind you of who you are. We have to do the same to ourselves every single day.
I love how you said that. There's value in talking yourself into feeling better. There's value in talking to yourself into feeling better. That's big.
Well, I think people feel bad about not feeling like how they think they should feel. So they're kind of like, I don't get affirmations. Like, I just don't feel it. It doesn't and then I feel like I'm lying to myself. And it's, well, in that moment, if you tell yourself you're well when you're not, you are lying to yourself. But if you say, I'm worried, or I'm filled with anxiousness, but I also know that I have a long history of resistance. I have a pattern that of overcoming events and experiences. Both are true.
Right. Right now, like I'm working through, like after this appointment, I'm rushing off to Cairo. And so my affirmation was, I'm not like, I know my body's aching,
Yes.
but I'm taking all of the steps that I know to take in order to make
Yes.
myself better. Right. Like, and
That's
so, but
right.
I'm doing things to make myself better. But
Yeah,
I'm,
it might be like my body is hurting, and the value of acknowledging it is that that's a compassionate statement. It's saying, I'm holding space for the pain.
mm-hmm,
And then the second part of the phrase is, but I have a pattern of strength. I have a capability for healing.
healing. Uh-huh.
I'm in the, or to say, I'm in the process of healing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
again, your mind will say, that's true.
Right. Right. That is true. Right.
Right? Like, oh, like this is a woman who is a bodybuilder. This is a woman who holds her health at the highest level. So of course, you're engaged in the well-being of your physical body. You're not going to let
Yeah.
yourself down. You're going to do everything you can to be well.
So it's always seeking your truth.
Seeking, speaking, affirming, visualizing. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the other piece, is that sometimes people feel like I am affirming myself, but I can't see it. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how to see it. And sometimes what that means is you need to spend time trying harder to see it. And
Yes.
before you can see it, sometimes you have to feel it. So I always recommend to my clients and students, actually lie in bed and use the word imagination. Like, say, I'm going to imagine right now
Mm.
what it feels like. What does it feel like to not be in pain, not to have my back hurting, what does it feel like to run as fast as I can? What does it feel like to feel like no headaches? What do I think that feels like? And then, like, what does it look like?
Mm-hmm.
Because, here's the thing that's really curious about affirmations.
Yes.
We're all different learners. Like, so some of us are visual. Some of us are audio learners.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us are tactile. And so, like, if you say an affirmation, but you're not a visual person, or you're not a person who responds to words,
Mm-hmm.
it's meaningless to you. But if you say like an affirmation, and you're like you're making a fist, and you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to be strong, and you're standing up, with your feet, a wide apart or hip width apart, and you're taking on a stance of power,
Mm-hmm. It will resonate more.
it's going to resonate.
Mm-hmm.
And then you keep practicing it. We don't all learn the same. We don't absorb everything the same.
Mm-hmm.
We're not always the same throughout our lives. We need different things throughout our lives. We need different
Right.
affirmations through our lives.
Right.
We have to be willing to embrace that also.
So is oh gosh, I just want to make everyone know I asked her one question. Really and truly.
I'm sorry. I
No,
get
no,
so,
I think this is great because you
so
covered so
excited.
much ground. There's covered so much ground. So I'm going to say my parting question, just to make
Yes,
sure we're
okay.
keeping within the time frame, is I want to ask more about negative self-talk, because you can't stop the negative.
Right.
And I think a lot of times we ignore it.
Yeah.
You kind of said something like that at the very beginning.
I,
Yeah,
I
go on.
think I think it's important to be authentic with ourselves and
Mm-hmm.
understand that wellness is a process. We are a
Mm-hmm.
system. We're not a box. We're not,
Mm-hmm.
we are organic. We are life. We are life. And
Mm-hmm.
our life is always evolving. And so we have to be willing to tell ourselves the truth. Maybe today I do feel bad about myself. Maybe today I feel like my stomach is really big. Maybe today I feel less than somebody else. Acknowledge it, but then say, I don't want to be stuck in this space, because this isn't a space for liberation. Thinking poorly about myself isn't a space of triumph, isn't a space for empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
But when you acknowledge your negative thoughts, I mentioned this word before, it's also showing compassion for yourself. It's
Yeah.
about empathy. It's about saying, in this moment, I'm feeling low. In this moment, I don't have the energy to say, oh, I'm so happy. Like, it's not about faking it. You know, that whole idea, fake it till you
Fake it
make
till you
it.
make it. I say faith it till you make it, but
I say faith it till you make it also, but faking it till you make it keeps creating fake things in you.
ooh.
We have to create from real, from
Mm-hmm.
love, from empathy, from compassion. We have to have it for ourselves. We have to understand that sometimes we think negatively because what's been poured into us has been negative.
Yeah.
And then we have to unlearn that negativity. And then we have to affirm what are the words, what's the language of love that I need to hear to
Mm-hmm.
make myself feel well.
Yeah.
And then the hard part is practice.
Yeah.
Practice every day until one day you start going, wow, you know what? I woke up today and I really felt good about waking up in this.
Right. Because then all of a sudden you're actually in the reality of that affirmation. Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Telling the truth.
So as a final message.
That was fast. Wow.
I know. It's 25 minutes, girl.
Oh my God.
Yeah. As a final message, with all the talks that you give, you know, your meditation, your practice, your clients that you have,
yeah,
often, like, what's the message you love to leave them with? I'd love you to share that here.
It's not just one, but I encourage people to love themselves deeply and to understand that they are a living process and to give yourself space and grace every single day.
I love that. And you know, I'm bringing you back on for a full guest episode.
I would love that.
We want to know about your life and how, you know, how you've gone to where you're on today in this journey. But I thank you for feeding into this series. It is so important to me, and I appreciate, and to all of us at Empowered My Skin, I appreciate you contributing on this platform in such a meaningful way. And
thank you.
And to everyone, you have got nuggets today. I think the best one, I love that one about leaning in and leaning into telling yourself that it's actually, it's okay to get yourself to that level of truth. So Che, you are a marvel. I don't know. It's so funny. You're a marvel. I don't know. Has anyone told you that, Che, you are a marvel? Yeah, probably.
I'm lucky. I have a great name. It wasn't my choice. It wasn't my choice, but I get to live it every single day. I love you, and I believe in you, and I am so grateful for what you're doing in the world.
Likewise, and I look forward to bringing you back on. Just watch for the link. We're bringing you on for a full episode. Okay, absolutely. You take care, and to everyone that's listening, this is where we say we're out. Bye-bye. Bye. There you have it. I trust that you're feeling more empowered in your skin. And as the late Dr. Maya Angelou says, when you get, you give, when you learn, you teach. So it would mean so much for us at EIMS if you share this episode and tag us, or teach an insight that you learned from today's episode on your socials and tag us. And remember to go over onto iTunes and leave us a review, or follow us on socials at Empowered My Skin. But most importantly, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.